All right, welcome folks. So today we're going to be talking about some geometry, and we're going to talk about angles. Earlier in the course we looked at angles and parallel lines, and we went back and reviewed Z pattern, C pattern, F pattern, and talked about those things. Today we're going to add a new piece to our knowledge of angles, but we're going to base it on something that we already know, which is the angles of a triangle. So the question that we're going to try to solve today is, if I have a pentagon, I'm going to try to draw a regular pentagon. So if we have a regular pentagon, and regular just means all the sides and all the angles are the same. So each of these sides has the same length, each of these angles measures the same amount of degrees. So if we have a regular pentagon like this, then what is the measure of the angle? And we're going to have two very different ways to think about this. One of them is based on triangles, and one of them is based on the idea of turning. So we'll do the triangles method first. You probably recall from grade 8 that if we have a triangle, doesn't matter what the side lengths are, doesn't matter what the angles are, if I add up the three angles, A plus B plus C, then the total of the angles is going to be 180 degrees. And we can prove this really easily, because if I take any triangle and I draw a line that goes through one of the corners and is parallel to the opposite side, so this and this are parallel, and I'll extend this one a little bit to make it easier to see what's going on, then we have some nice Z pattern happening. So this is a Z, which means this angle and this angle are the same, they're both B. And this is a Z, which means these two angles are the same, they're both C. And now we can very quickly see that B plus A plus C added together, these three angles, make a flat line. And if angles add up to a flat line, that means they add up to 180 degrees. So B plus A plus C is 180 degrees, but B plus A plus C is also the three angles of the triangle, so that means that the three angles of the triangle add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so how can we use that knowledge about triangles to figure out what's going on with other shapes? Well, we're going to talk about a pentagon, but you can do this with any polygon. We're going to talk about regular shapes, so all the sides equal and all the angles are equal, but actually this technique works for irregular polygons as well. So the basic idea is we are going to start at one of the corners, and we are just going to draw lines across the shape from corner to corner so that we split the shape into triangles. It's super important when you do this to not have any of your lines cross each other. If your lines cross each other, this isn't going to work. So we need our lines like this. I can't draw a line like that because it would have crossed this one here. We don't want that. So this line, they don't cross each other. If they don't cross each other, they're going to break the shape up into triangles. And we can notice here that if I take this angle plus this angle, those two together make one of the angles of the pentagon. And I can do the same here. This angle plus this angle, those two together make one of the angles of the pentagon. This is one of the angles of the pentagon. And then here, this one plus the middle one plus that one makes yet a third angle of the pentagon, a fourth angle of the pentagon, and there's our fifth one. So each of these angles of the pentagon is made up out of parts of the angles of the triangle. And so if I wanted to add up this angle plus this angle plus this angle, that's 180 degrees because it's one triangle. And if I wanted to add this angle and this angle and this angle, they're also from a triangle, so they're another 180 degrees. And then this one plus this one plus this one, 180 degrees as well. So I have 3 triangles, so I have 180 degrees 3 times. But if I add all of those angles together, so this one plus this one plus this one, 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 that also is all the angles of the pentagon. So if I add up all the angles of these 3 triangles, they're also all the angles of the pentagon. So that means that the angles of the pentagon are going to be 3 times 180 degrees, and that is 540 degrees. So all the angles of a pentagon together, 540 degrees. So if we're talking about polygon angles, we now have this idea of breaking the polygon into triangles. Since we know each triangle is 180 degrees, we can just count up how many triangles and multiply by 180, and that'll give us the total angles of the pentagon, or whatever shape it is. Now, this pentagon is regular. All the angles are the same. So that means if we want one angle, we can take this sum of angles. So let's just write our conclusion, sum of angles. So if we add up all the angles of a pentagon, is 540 degrees. So a single angle of a regular pentagon, where all the angles are the same, well, 5 of them together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is 540 degrees. They're all the same, so if I want to know one of them, I just need to go 540 degrees divided by 5. And that is going to give me 108 degrees. So now I know that a single angle here is 108 degrees. This one's also 108, this one's also 108, this one's also 108, that one's also 108. So if it's a regular polygon, we can just divide by how many angles there are to find the individual angle. Now, there's one little extra piece here. There's a fast way to figure out how many triangles there are going to be. So here we just counted them, but let's say instead of a pentagon, I was doing a shape with like 42 different sides. How would I figure out how many triangles? Well, I could draw them all. That'd take a really long time. So I'm going to have you notice I'm just going to do a few shapes here. If we have a square, we just draw one line across it and we get 2 triangles. So 4 sides, 2 triangles. We already know for a pentagon, which has 5 sides, that we had 3 triangles. With a hexagon, we're going to get 1, 2, 3 lines across, which makes 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. So that hexagon, pardon me, has 6 sides and 4 triangles. And you'll notice this pattern just continues. Every time we add a side, we add a triangle. And we started with 3 sides as 1 triangle, which is maybe the obvious one, and it just grows from there. So anytime you want to know, based on the number of sides, how many triangles you'll get when you break the shape up, you just need to take the number of sides minus 2. 6 minus 2 is 4, 5 minus 2 is 3, 4 minus 2 is 2, 3 minus 2 is 1, and so on. So for our last question, if we have a 42-sided shape or polygon In other words, it has straight sides. What is the sum of angles? Well, we're just going to do 42 minus 2, and then take the answer of that and multiply by 180. And that's going to be 40 times 180, which I believe is 7,200 degrees. So sum of angles would be 7,200 degrees for a 42-sided polygon. Whoa. And there we can see it. So 42 sides. There's 2 fewer triangles than sides, 42 minus 2. That's going to give us 40 triangles times by 180 degrees in each triangle. We get 7,200 degrees in total for a 42-sided polygon. Okay, I'm going to make a separate video showing the other method. You don't have to know both. If you like this method, you're welcome to stick with it. If you're curious about the other one, check out that video.